So it's time for a new build. After my Synology box has steadily been dying horrifically, each one of the drives are failing. I think I've had to pull 3 drives out of the array, of the 8-bay array, over the last kind of month. It just seems to be that they're dying like dominoes. Now, regarding Synology and the whole point of this video is, I was thinking of, what do I replace this NAS with? So I can go down the Synology route. We'll come back to that, or maybe look at another sort of appliance style, machine. But I kind of wanted to go DIY. Now, the reason I'm not staying with Synology is some years ago, I basically paid for a surveillance station license, a 4-pack license, I think it was. If you're not aware, Synology essentially has a part of the sort of the package that they have, like a CCTV recording platform, an NVR. I paid for this legitimately, and one night they decided to deactivate the sort of the CCTV and knock it back down to, I think it actually disabled the entire platform. That night, my car was broken into. All the cameras were running. Everything was fine. The only only piece of the puzzle was the Synology box that stopped recording. So from my perspective, fuck Synology, not going down that route again. So we kind of circle back around now and we look at going DIY. So for those who are not aware, the Jonsbo, sorry, that's probably me murdering that name, but they produced this pretty cool NAS case. So I think it was Serve the Home who've done a video on it before, but essentially this is an 8-bay NAS hot swappable that's basically using a ITX form factor with an SPF PSU. I haven't had a chance to open this up yet. As you can see, it's all sitting here in boxes, but it looks very interesting. It is bare bones. You don't get anything with it other than, I believe, a few fans. Might do a follow-up on this, but we'll see how we go. Now, I'm typically an Intel. I'm normally Intel. Most of my equipment here is Intel. It's usually i9s, somewhat on that lines. But I've had a lot of success with sort of the Ryzen PSUs recently. They seem to run very low power and give you a lot of performance for relatively not a huge amount of money. So what I've gone with is a Ryzen 7. Now, another thing, when you're dealing with ITX, you've got an issue where you don't have a lot of space in here. So I've gone with this sort of Silver Sol 110 mil height. Now, apparently this particular case can basically encompass a 150 mil HSF, but I've seen a few videos and a few pictures where it looks so tight. I think, in fact, you might be impeding your airflow. Now, from a PSU perspective, I've gone with this sort of MSI Mag 650N, mostly because I just don't need a huge amount of power. I'm not going to be putting a sort of a graphics card in here otherwise. This, in my plan, is just going to sit there humming away quietly, maintaining my storage. Now, moving on, we'll switch over to the pièce de résistance, or however you say. I'm not French, unfortunately. Is this bad boy. Now, I paid rather a lot for this. For the record, if I grab my tablet and tell you, is an ASRock rack X574i-2T. Now, this was expensive. This was about £500, okay? Probably a bit more, actually. But why I like this is, unlike a lot of other ITX-based boards, it has two 10 gig E Ethernet adapters, good old copper as well, not using SPF. So you can just hook it into your existing hubs, and when you want to upgrade, when sort of 10 gig E hubs come on the market, you can instantly upgrade. I didn't really want to go down the fiber route because it just would mean a massive headache, because I'd have to upgrade everything else at the same time. In theory, if I went that route, I could hook it up into the main 48 port hub, but headaches. This is a good way to go. It supports 128 gig of RAM, so you've got four slots each. I suspect you go further, but basically 32 gig in each port. Away you go. Also supports ECC, which is, I think, in my personal opinion, is very important. Annoyingly, I didn't go down that route. I went down with a Micron-based chip here with Crucial. I do have some Kingston Premier server chips on order, but they're not going to rock up till, I don't know, apparently till March. So I can't bother to wait that long. Now, storage-wise, the NVMe is literally going to be a boot drive. I've gone a bit overboard here with 2 gig. It's quite a nice, NVMe drive here, but that's going to be idling most of the time. I'm hopefully going with true NAS. I did think about the idea of going around with, installing something like Proxmox and then installing something like true NAS and then feeding the drives or an SBA straight to that disk, but it kind of defeats the object. So I think we'll go bare metal with true NAS and we'll have a play. But yeah, so I think this board is interesting. So we have IPMI, which means we can remote into it without necessarily having to deal with the operating system, which I tell you what, when you deal with a lot of, even when you're dealing with home lab stuff, the ability to be able to remote into a machine and do diagnostics or work out why something is not booted or whatever else is incredibly valuable, which I think this is where this particular board earns its money. So next up is to get this motherfucker built. Hope that was useful. I will write all this up and hopefully do a build pick list just in case anyone wants to follow in my footsteps, assuming this doesn't go horribly wrong. Cheers guys, thank you very much.